Good morning, guys. Hope you're doing well. So I was thinking about the sheet because we're not really using the sheet on any EA right now, and we come across this phenomena on the synthetic sentiment where we would have a setup and then would see that the herd were correct 24 hours later. I'll give you a demo. Come here, and we come to the sheet. So currently what happened yesterday is that the dollar USD and the Swiss, they were at complete polar opposites. And what happened is that you could argue that we run stops at the extremes. And look at the dollar Swiss now, we're moving quite strongly. So I wonder whether or not, because we did cover this quite comprehensively, we even got a cheat sheet here. I made videos on it, but we never automated it. And the problem was about automating it back then is because I didn't know how to create EAs, and now I do. So what we're going to do is get the EA to read the divergence, but this is the sneaky thing, okay, is that we're not going to reverse the crowd, we're going to join them, but 24 hours later. So what it does, the EA, when it reads the sheet, when it reads that, it will send the trade to MetaTrader 4, okay, and then that'll be like a dummy trade. So that's important, okay. So we've got like a timeline here from ChatGPT. So when the max bubbles diverge, we'll send a dummy trade, and then 24 hours later, it will then duplicate that trade, but with a larger size, okay. So this is like the clever part. So at this point is that we are probably going to be wrong, because the crowd are going to get squished initially, but then 24 hours later, they're going to be right. Okay, we've seen it time and time again that they're right, but they're just too early. And we've got a global TPSL which needs testing. So if we hit 1% profit, we're out. If we're out at 1% loss, we're out with a loss, but that needs tweaking. And then we go on to the next signal. So currently, as it stands, if it was to trigger now, we would have CAD yen for a sell. Okay, so that's how it would be. But however, we can see that the yen and the euro, we're going to have like a battle. So it might be euro CAD. All right, and that'll be the case where we would look to join the crowd tomorrow. It will send a dummy trade, which is a small, tiny size, and then 24 hours later, it will then duplicate that trade, and then we should be okay. If we come to the Euro CAD, we can see it's probably going to come down to some support, and that's what we'll do. We'll simply buy it at support. That's fine. Let's look at the Euro CAD. Right, so we are coming down to support. Right, so what we're going to do, if it triggers, it's going to look for a buy. So we don't mind this falling, because it'll be a better, more confident buy, and that's how it works. So currently the crowd are looking to buy this. They're obviously getting squished, but they're going to be right 24 hours later, and that's the logic. Okay, so we're probably going to come down here. We're not that far away. It's about 25 pips or so, coming to some nice support. 24 hours later, we'll then open the buy, and up we come, and then it should TP. Pending we get 1% profit, I may make it to 2% profit. So that's it really. Doesn't need to be much more spoken about. Currently as it stands, it is CAD yen, but I think we may see this overtake, and then we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, so that's it. So what it does, it sends a dummy trade where we're going to be wrong initially, and then we're going to send a proper trade with a better size 24 hours later, and then it'll simply average that dummy trade out, and this is why it's called the DCA. Where are we? We are here. So these are MetaTrader 5s. This is MetaTrader 4. Okay, and we see that we had the dollar Swiss from yesterday, because what happened is that the dollar and the Swiss had diverged so much. I think stops were taken on those particular currencies, and that's why we have the reversal. So dummy trade, and then correct trade, the real trade in speech marks, and we see that they were up on that. So this is what we'll do. So essentially we're following the crowd, but we're going to wait for them to get squished, and then then we'll be profitable because they're going to get stopped out first, and then it will go in our favor. So this was the dummy. This is the real trade. So, and you probably ask, why do we have to send a dummy trade? Well, the thing is that the Google Sheets EA isn't sophisticated enough to have checks. So once it triggers, once we have the bubbles diverge, it will simply send a trade to MetaTrader 4. Then I've got an EA, an accompanying EA that checks all of this stuff, and it goes, right, okay, we're going to duplicate your trade 24 hours later. This is the magic number. And, well, okay, so that the TP is 5% on your account, 5% stop loss. So we could change that around. That's quite a lot. We could probably reduce that. Wide stop. Yeah, we need a wide stop because initially we're going to be wrong, like the crowd. So we come back, trading view. Where are we? Yeah, so we're going to be wrong initially, but then we're going to be right 24 hours later. Up we go. Okay, so that's just that synthetic sentiment EA, and it just reads the bubbles and the divergence on the bubbles. And do note it doesn't trade gold because we're looking at the currencies. Okay, so that's it. So I think that's it. If you've got any questions, let me know, and we'll just have to see how we go. And the currently the EA is working every 6 hours, so I think we're due a signal soon, and then it'll probably be CAD Gen, but it depends what the crowd do with their Euro bets. If they go long, then we're going to get the Euro CAD, and then we'll join them, but we'll be 24 hours later we'll join them, and then we can make some profits. So it's almost as though the crowd were right as a herd, but they're just too early. They're 24 hours too early, and this is what we're going to be testing. Okay, so that's the video on the it's the DCA average delayed. The delayed bit is the sneaky part. That's the secret, I think. And we have to see how we go. We can see we're making nice profits from yesterday's divergence on the bubbles. And then, yeah, that's it. We'll just have to see how we go. So I'll keep you guys updated. And, if we get any humongous success, I'll let you know. If it fails, I'll also let you know as well. The other EA, this one, that was a bit of a pickle yesterday because of the yen. It didn't do anything at all, and we just chopped around. So this is going to open at 2:30, which is New York open, and then we'll see how we go there. So that's the MetaTrader 5 gold proxy EA, which I made a video on Monday, and this is the delayed sentiment EA that we're going to use. And it's going to be very interesting because we'll be following the crowd, but only after they get squished. So we'll be following them with a tiny size, but then we'll be adding the size, we'll be increasing it once they've got stopped out, and then we'll average and we'll be up quite nicely. So we'll just have to see how we go. So any questions, let me know. Have a good day, and I'll speak to you guys soon.